Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to Freya's Forge. On today's video, we're going to continue the deep dive into the principles of belief. We're going to be covering principles 3, 4, and 5. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. Welcome back. If this is your first time seeing my face, my name is Kelshay. I'm an initiated Wiccan High Priestess and Reiki Master. And on this channel, we talk about all the witchy goodness that I wish that I had had access to as a beginner in the craft. I've been going through some things. If you haven't caught the last few videos, if you want to go back and check them out, you're certainly welcome to. But I've been going through some things. So right now I'm doing some kind of deep dives into what I believe. Do I still believe things that I have been taught? Do I still connect with different pieces of knowledge that I had growing as a practitioner in the craft? And one of the things that I'm doing right now is kind of a deep dive into the principles of belief. I will link up here and in the description the original video that Seraphel and I did on the principles of belief, a general overview of all 13 principles. And I'll also link to last week's video, which was the first 2 principles of belief. Today's video, I'm going to talk about the next 3. They're kind of connected in my mind, so I wanted to kind of go over those 3. I don't know how long the video will be. I did try to record this before and realized I wasn't actually recording because I'm sometimes technologically challenged. So just bear with me a little bit. One of the things with the number 4 principle, I just want to make very clear right now is that I know that there are more genders represented among people than masculine and feminine, or male and female. So don't come at me in the comments, because I do definitely know that there are more gradients of gender than just 2. But with regards to the 4th principle of belief, we're going to talk about masculine and feminine. So just kind of bear with me. Know that I do know that there are more than just the 2, but just kind of go with it. Smile, nod. If you want to have a conversation with me about where you fall on the spectrum in gender, you are certainly welcome to reach out to me. My email address is in the About section of the channel. If you know me personally, reach out to me through DMs. If you want to have the conversation in the comments, by all means, go ahead and drop a comment. So I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way before we get into that particular principle of belief, because I want you to be aware that I am aware that there is more than just the polarity of gender. So we'll consider that as the 2 ends of the spectrum. Okay. So the 3rd principle of belief is we acknowledge a depth of power far greater than that is apparent to the average person. Because it is far greater than ordinary, it is sometimes called supernatural, but we see it as lying within that which is naturally potential to all. So for this one, yes, I would say this is still one of my personal principles of belief, that there is a god or goddess of my understanding that is bigger than me. And it is both within me and around me, in the natural world, in the supernatural world. It is there and exists, and I definitely acknowledge that depth of power that is far greater than I can fathom. So yes, that is still one of my personal principles of belief. And I'm not going to go into these real in depth. I'm just kind of doing a checklist of, do I still believe this? If you want a more in-depth discussion on any of them, again, hit me up in the comments. So the aforementioned 4th principle of belief that is controversial So we conceive of the creative power in the universe as manifesting through polarity, as masculine and feminine, and that this same creative power lies in all people and functions through the interaction of the masculine and feminine. We value neither above the other, knowing each to be supportive of the other. We value sex as pleasure, as the symbol of the embodiment of life, and as one of the sources of energies used as in magical practice and religious worship. So again, that spectrum of polarity. So we'll say on one end is masculine, on the other end is feminine, and there's a whole bunch in between. But it's that union of polarity that we get our magical energy from. And yes, I do still believe this, that there is more than just one source of power, one source of divine energy. So yes, that is definitely one thing I still believe. I will say that in addition to the spectrum of gender, there is also a spectrum of sexuality. And so that sexual energy as, pleasure, if you're asexual, do not think that that means that you cannot worship you can't practice paganism if you're asexual. That's okay. You can find that same pleasure in something other than sex. So we can certainly have that conversation at a later time if you'd like, because I don't want anyone to ever feel alienated because of who they are. That is definitely, I will come for you in the comments if you come at any of my folks for believing who they are is anything but who they are. If somebody is asexual, if somebody is homosexual, heterosexual, pansexual, whatever, let your flag, and I'm not going to say freak flag because none of you are freaks, okay? This is a little bit of a tangent, but just understand that I love you, who you are, how you express yourself, how you identify. If you have pronouns and you want me to use them, and tell me what they are. Mine are she, her. So if you want to tell me your pronouns, I will use them. If you identify as something other than how you were assigned at birth, that's cool. Not everybody has any business knowing who you are. Just if you're not comfortable saying, my pronouns are he, him, and you look to the outer world like you were assigned female at birth, I'm going to call you he, him. I'll call you by whatever name you give me. I'm used to calling people by names that aren't on their birth certificate because I'm pagan and we have pagan names. It's okay. Again, kind of a tangent on that particular topic. It is one of my soapboxes. I will come for people if they try to misgender or dead name my friends and my family. So take that for what it's worth. So the number 5 principle is we recognize both outer and inner or psychological worlds, sometimes known as the spiritual world or the collective unconscious, inner planes, etc. And we see in the interaction of these two dimensions the basis for paranormal phenomenon and magical exercises. We neglect neither dimension for the other, seeing both as necessary for our fulfillment. So what this one says to me, and yes, it is still one of my personal beliefs, is that there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy, to quote Hamlet. There are greater planes than we have access to on a daily, mundane basis. They lay on top of each other, and so we do interact with those planes in different ways. This is definitely one that I do still personally believe. While I have not had connection with some of the other planes recently, I have had in the past, and I still believe them to be there. the idea of paranormal phenomena where you interact with spirits and ghosts and phantasms and poltergeists and all of that definitely does happen. I've had it happen to myself. One of my besties is a ghost hunter. It happens, it exists, and I do believe those to be in existence, those different planes. We may only access them in certain situations. We may only access them on the dreamscape, but they are there. And so yes, I do still believe that they exist. At some point, we might do a video that's strictly on the collective unconscious. We might do a separate video on the planes of existence, because I think as practitioners of the craft, as magical practitioners, these are important concepts for people to understand, because you have to be able to plug into these different places to really manifest things on the mundane plane. So, principles of belief 3, 4, and 5, check, check, check. Still part of my personal belief structure. Again, with that caveat that with number 4, it's a gradient from masculine to feminine, and I'm not going to belabor that point any more than I have already done. So, if you have any questions about these 3, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions. Shoot me an email, shoot me a DM if you know me personally, and I'll be happy to carry on the conversation. I do want to say that in the next couple of weeks, I've got some fun things planned. I'm hoping to have the first conservation conversation video up. I'm working on editing that first video. I'm going to run it through my bestie to let her see if we need to tinker anything before it actually goes live, but look for that in the next few weeks. I'm also planning to do a video on the phases of the moon. I have had that requested, so I am definitely going to be doing that. So if you have any other things that you would like me to cover in amongst this deep dive into the principles of belief, do feel free to hit me up in the comments, contact me however you want to, and I will see what I can do about making it happen. I think that's all for me for today. I've tried to keep this relatively short. I am mostly just trying to, with the principles of belief, say, yes, I still do believe them, or no, I don't believe them, and here's why. Again, mostly for my personal record keeping. But until next time, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.